Hello, welcome. This is Blockchain Bloom, the blockchain indicator. I'm Pinkin. In today's video, I'm going to talk about that people are panicking. Now we have a little correction. And really, is this the top or just the new start for another leg up? So let's talk about that. Then also, Trump actually announced it that he's going to announce the names for Fed chair and Bureau of Statistics head in a couple of days. That could be actually interesting. Also, we had now finally some outflows also from Ethereum spot ETFs after a long time. So let's talk about that as well. And what else? Oh yeah, the statue, the Satoshi statue, was damaged in Lugano, unfortunately. And well, I don't know if you remember the guy named James Howells, and he's the one who lost 8,000 Bitcoin back in 2013, and now it looks like he finally gave up the search to finding his, hardware. Okay, so that as well. So a lot of interesting things in today's video. And don't forget, every single day, I'm bringing you the fresh cryptocurrency and blockchain news here on Blockchain Bloom to keep you up to date. So if that's important, simply subscribe to this YouTube channel, hit the like button if you like this kind of content. And now let's do it. Okay, so first let's look at the numbers, how the prices looks like, and Bitcoin is 0.6% up in the last 24 hours with that $114,716 while we have Ethereum up 3% the last 24 hours. It's $3,603. Who's the top gainer? Meme Core 20% up, Mantle 9%, and Litecoin up 7%. And among the losers, Ton went down 7%, Story down 3%, and P down 2.5%. So as you can see, no major dumping happening right now, not even among the altcoins. And when we're looking at here the Bitcoin chart, we can see that this is here the weekly. And, this this neckline for the inverse head and shoulders was really drawn for the daily chart, to be honest with you. But actually, I wouldn't be surprised if Bitcoin can come down here to the 110-ish area, really retest this level and then, break out. But maybe just the neckline is going to hold as well. So that could be also interesting. One important thing, we had the CME gap, being closed, which was formed here around the 10th of July. So that's important because many times the price revisits the CME gap, not every single time, but quite often. So actually that's positive. When we're looking at Bitcoin dominance, yesterday and today it started to drop again, which is good for altcoins. When we're looking at the altcoins, we can see that when we're looking at the altcoin market cap, not including Bitcoin and Ethereum, that in the last 2 days started to go up. Also, when we're looking at the smaller ones out of the top 10 altcoins, that started to also go a little bit higher. So altogether, they holding themselves pretty well. And Bitcoin, what we have witnessed now, even when we're looking at the weekly, then pretty much we have seen here in a week, down to the closing price, a full 5% dump. That's in the 1 week but people were actually kind of panicking off. And when we're looking at, Bitcoin all-time high, which was set back a couple of weeks ago, we're talking about more than 7%. So this is actually not significant, and Bitcoin not heavily dumping or something like that. And but let's looking at the reasons why this was happening. All right, so let's have a look. So first of all, last week, we had the FOMC meeting, and after the FOMC meeting, the prices and the whole market turned a little bit bearish because of Jerome Powell's hawkish turn. And if you remember, the chances after the FOMC meeting's press conference of rate cut in September were rather for no rate cuts than for rate cuts. So actually that changed. But we had some new data which calls that, which means right now 83% is saying that there will be a rate cut. So that's how fast the whole thing changed. in September, and just 16.5 saying there will be no rate cuts. So that's important. And basically, this data is here, the US, non-farm payrolls, and when you're looking at the labor market, then new jobs were much less, added back in July. Instead of 106,000, we just had 73,000, much less than the forecast said, and about half of it what was a month before. And this bad data showed that really we are not in that good shape, what Jerome Powell was talking about. Because there's mainly two reasons when the Fed going to actually cut rates. One of the reasons is that the inflation data is coming to the target price, which is around 2%, or the target percentage. And as you can see, we are around 2.7 right now. We used to be around 2.3, 2.4. By the way, next week on Tuesday, the next data is coming out, so that's crucial to watch, I believe. But also another one is, if the labor market is suffering, that's another reason to cut the rates. And the thing is that Donald Trump was here saying that these job numbers was kind of faked and in favor of the Biden administration, helping Kamala Harris. So now the market was much worse than they showed us, and therefore it's the big surprise now, the bad data. And actually, freshly, he just announced that he's going to, replace the Fed chair and also the head of Bureau of Labor Statistics. And he's going to announce this. Now the news is about the names in a couple of days time. So that could be interesting, because when we know that the new team is coming, the whole market is going to focus on that and start to price in that. So therefore, I believe the market is holding itself pretty well when you're looking at the Bitcoin and even the altcoins, not dumping right now. So overall, I would say, we are bullish rather than bearish. And when we're looking at here, actually these numbers, the inflows, outflows into Bitcoin and Ethereum spot ETFs, we can see that, on the 31st of July and the 1st of August, we had outflows, actually quite significant, $812 million outflows from the Bitcoin spot ETF. And first time after many days, we had the first outflow on the 1st of August as well from the Ethereum spot ETF. So before just inflows, even that number wasn't that significant. It's not a small one, but when looking at here, the inflows 600, 700, 500, 300, 400 millions, then we had 152 million. That not a big number at all. And interestingly, BlackRock is not dumping a single one, not even buying on that day, but not dumping a single one. So yes, so when we're looking at the overall picture, then we can see that actually it rather feels like that another leg up could come, and this is not really the top of the cycle. Looking at this data, we had M2 money supply, global money supply versus Bitcoin price. And, it's about shifted, by 90 days. So that's the offset. And actually, the M2 money, global money supply started to peak now here. Another question is then in 2 months' time, like this, around, October, will be really the cycle top, or it will be just, a sub peak for Bitcoin, what will come. So again, not talking about the fact that now it's the top. So this is just my personal opinion. So I think we're going to continue. We will see higher prices in Q3, Q4. But interesting thing. Now what we feel is that the market is much more, sensitive than it used to be in other bull markets, because back then nobody cared about these things. But now we have, Trump announcing this and that. Now we have, tariffs, you have war situations and all these kind of things. So the market is, as soon as Bitcoin is going down a couple of percentage, this is what we see. People start to panic. That's over. And it's not how it's used to be, right? So the market's much more sensitive. and therefore it's much more difficult to have nice leg ups. But you know, when really the money printer is kind of coming, when we started to cut rates, when we have the new names for the Fed chair and the other major position, then actually that can change the market and bring the prices higher in a couple of months time. So actually we could have a nice end of the year or the second part of the year, and who knows, maybe, you know, in the beginning of 2026, but I don't want to run that far. Anyway, bottom line is that I think this is a rather good opportunity than the cycle top, but this is just my personal opinion. I don't know, you let me know what you think. You can let me know in the comment section. Right, another news, you know, we have these Satoshi statues in a couple of cities again already around the world, but one of them in Lugano was now damaged. So yeah, you know, if you remember this Satoshi statue, it was, you know, took off from its base and thrown into the water. Not that nice, but luckily now they move it already and will, you know, put it back to its position, fix it. So yeah, not everybody is happy about this Satoshi Nakamoto thing, and this is one way to show it, or it's just local vandalism. I really don't know. It's a sad thing because why would you do something like that? But okay, who knows? They're going to fix it, bottom line. And there's the guy, James Howells. Maybe you remember him. He lost 8,000 Bitcoin, and he was, you know, really searching for it like a maniac. But let's talk about his story. So here is this guy, and we haven't heard from him for a while, but he was the one who threw away his, you know, kind of computer, I believe, or the hard drive at least, back in 2013, and it held 8,000 Bitcoin. And when he just realized that it happened, I think the cleaner did it. Then simply he asked for permission to dig in the trash to find it, because, you know, it's even back then it was like money he believed that it would be useful for him in the future. And now we're talking about almost $1 billion US when we're talking about this amount of Bitcoin. And, you know, it could be, the value could be around 2030, like 8 billion. So it's like a crazy number, but it looks like finally after a decade, he kind of gave up. He said, okay, now it just, you know, it's just impossible to find it. And imagine this guy's last decade, that every single day he was hoping to find his fortune, what he threw away, and it just couldn't manage. So I think it's, I don't know, mentally it must be kind of destroying. But if you feeling having a bad day because your portfolio went down a bit or something, just remember him, and probably after that you would think that your problem is definitely smaller. Anyway, guys, that's it for today. So as I said last week, you know, in July I was on holidays. So on last Thursday, I just came back and made another, you know, large video just like that. And now you're going to have again the bigger videos from Monday to Thursday, and every single day, you know, short videos to keep you up to date. So if you won't miss a single important information, simply subscribe to this YouTube channel, and don't forget to hit the like button if you like this kind of content. So see you tomorrow in the next one. Have a good one. Bye bye.